Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, we are going to open a common interview session, and there are some written questions. We will start the session with the written questions with cordial invitation to have any other questions available. But I will invite Mr. Seniviratna to read out what is written.
අවසරයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. Most Venerable Bhante, during my Anapanasati meditation, the moment I close my eyes, I feel I am in space. I cannot see myself nor my surroundings. After hearing your Dhamma talk on Friday, I feel that I am in the voidness you mentioned. As I attended the retreat on that day itself, I missed the beginning of this sutra. This state I experience is right throughout the duration. Please tell me if I am in the correct path and correct understanding about voidness. Thank you. With metta.
Also, easily in order to answer this, we can say the mindfulness is the beginning and middle and the end. So to put into the quotation from the Buddha, he says Satipatthana is from the beginners as well as for the medium as well as for the fully veteran people also. So if we reduce to Satipatthana to the term Sati, that means mindfulness is the beginning, mindfulness at the middle, at the end. So if we reduce that mindfulness into here now I am is the beginning, it is the middle, it is the end. But when and where you familiarize that very so-called simple single experience, it is evolving. Ever it is going to give so much juice, sap of Dhamma. So first entering into the here now I am, and then familiarization of the same, as mastering of the same, its meaning evolves. Its experience is evolving. So more and more you go into different shades and the nuances of here now I am, you find meditation is become more and more like a hobby rather than task force or regimentation, and it has its own magnetic power to be with it. And ultimately, you may find here now I am is almost like the solitude, it's almost like peace of mind, almost like contentment. So therefore, once a person going to be familiar with this kind of thing, it becomes infectious to other people also, that when and where you become very simple, under your very nose, be here and now, the natural happiness, the natural blooming takes place. So therefore, this particular sutta, Chula Sunyatha Sutta, also reification or confirmation of the same within a theoretical way, but in practically we can say we try our best to abide by voidness. That means be here and now.
This is the next question, so I will answer. Dear Venerable Bhante, when doing Anapanasati meditation, within few minutes it goes into feelingless and calm situation. In sometimes it is in a clear, lighted surrounding, but in sometimes it is in a dark surrounding. Is there anything wrong?
Is there
anything wrong?
So that is both of them, if you give the equal value and keep on continuing, what is leading to more freedom, solitude, lack of frustration, lack of tension will lead, which is better than the other one. Because when you keep on meditating, doors are opening, thousand and thousand way outs, thousand and thousand windows are opening. So you have to try each and every one, Of course, sometimes you have no option, you have no choice to select them. They come, but only the yardstick that you are measuring is which one is going to give more relief, which one is going to give less and less frustration. And outsiders hardly can contribute towards that, unless otherwise you know what is to be maximized, what is to be used as a measuring stick. Then always you have to depend on others. But both of them are good, but there may be one option is better than the other. It is no hard and fast rule. It is circumstantial. It is according to the person, according to the state of meditation or progress. So therefore, try the soft end, just like a root leading more and more towards the nutritious, more and more towards the water. And there is no straight roots in the world. Roots are always in its intrinsic nature. Likewise, your experimentation must be ever challengeful, ever from friction to frictionless situation. So only the point I am highlighting is compare it with respect to your frustration, with respect to your tension. Whatever it may be releasing, take it for the moment, but don't expect that is to be the truth for whole your life. That very thing also changing place to place. That is how it becomes multidimensional. This indicates mind is progressing.
Thank you very much. This is the second part of the same question. When it goes to the feelingless condition, nothing in the surrounding, and also I felt like bodiless. This Sunyatha condition is spreading and spreading to cover the whole space. Please explain this with metta.
So if it is spreading, we have to say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. What explanation does it demand? If it is spreading, that means your the contentment is increasing. If you put into the correct perspective, so try to keep this trend as long as possible. And more you keep it familiar, it learns ways and means to spread to all the directions, not in a linear method. And more you familiarize it, that become your second nature. Whenever you go to that, if you feel like at home, that means mind is in the correct direction. More and more you go there, if you feel out of the place, tension, entertaining doubts, frustration, that means even though it is the truth, mind is not happy to accept it, but it is not a crime, it is not a mistake. So you have to apply again and again and see. More and more it goes to the sunyatha, or descending to the void. If the mind becomes more relaxed, mind goes to the least frictional path, or feel like in the comfort zone, or feel like at home, or if it is becoming your second nature, you are the very person, or you can say your past is the very thing that you can compare and see whether you are going from the friction to the freedom.
Thank you, Bhante. Dear Bhante, when in the voidness it was calm and content, but suddenly felt like pulling into another voidness. This happened about twice in one sitting with gaps. Please explain with metta.
Now you have to repeat the question, please.
Dear Bhante, when in the voidness it was calm and content, but suddenly felt like pulling into another voidness. This happened about twice in one sitting with gaps. Please explain.
So there is a maturity. Not only that you are just associating it, you become familiarize it, and ultimately you master it. More and more you become steadfast, more and more you become seasoned, more and more you become familiar it. Its contentment or its solitude is spreading far and wide, and it need no any kind of tactic, need no any kind of volitional contribution, and more you familiarize, it knows how to spread by leaps and bounds and spreading. So you are just witnessing and you have no choice. You have nothing to do. Only you are observing, it is spreading, and only it is a problem if you are entertaining doubts. Only it will be a problem if you feel unsafe. Only it will be a problem if you feel monotonous. Then you have to go back to the primary object and refine it. Otherwise, if the mind is ready for this radical reflection, if the mind is ready for something new, something unknown, then that means that indicates the confidence, lack of doubts. So this, it's a matter of time. So this indicates it is naturally happening. So therefore it is a good report, but need no any other further instructions.
Thank you very much. This is the last question, and it is a very somewhat longer, but I'll read it. Thank you and Sopat Peva for giving me the green light to apply for this retreat. Also to Mr. Reggie, Ms. Doreen, Hem Malika, Dila for coordinating the programs, and all others who helped. Seeing the film yesterday, I was happy to hear that 40% of the brain changes, mental attitude changes were seen within 7 days. I am sure with our 14-day training, our two would have been changed for the better. Dhamma taking over the Karma Chakra. Can you please give us a clue, some advice? How to continue with it in the home environment? That's the first part.
So when you go home, you must not be a friction to others. If you are going to be a nail or friction to others, that means you are utterly messed up. But when you go home, if you don't know any changes, just living as a just being, understand that other people, they are running their own role. And if you feel less and less friction to be with all the non-meditators, if you have no friction to be with all the critical people towards you, and if you feel more and more connection with the plants and trees and the butterflies, that's a very good sign. That means you become more and more aesthetic. Your life becomes a song. And instead, if you feel others are not meditating, others are not maintaining precepts, and others, you become disciplinarian and you try to interpret terms and conditions, you are bringing a misery back at home. So therefore, house is the best place to check whether you have progressed or not. So if they can't see any change, that indicate the best progress. You are same old idiot. That's it. Everyone finds that they have just wasted 15 days and come back home. That's it. No problem. Instead, if you are going to teach them and advise them and finding fault with them and cursing them and all the kind of thing, that means you are in a irreversible damage in the brain, or you can't wash and clean. Just try to be. Just be. That indicates that, therefore, interaction with this crazy world is a must. Without that, no Nibbana. Nibbana is always relative to the mad world. So whenever you are hating mad world, you are hating Nibbana. Whenever you know how to be with them and still make fun out of it, but not fun out of people, but you understand the fun out of the way, their role, then it is called Ladda Mudhani Bhutim Bunjamana. You are entertaining kind of entertainment free of charge. They are giving you without any cost. So you know how to extract it and make each and every moment is joyful. Every moment is mindful. Each and every moment is diligent. Each and every moment is vigilant. And without interaction, no go. No progress. So therefore, once in a way, you have to go back home and come and sit and again go back. The Buddha says, when you are cleaning and washing, refining a gold ornament, But the goldsmith is doing is put into water and again fire, again water, again fire, again water, again fire, and brushing slowly, then only you can get rid of only the muck, dirt, without disturbing the tiny decorations in the gold. So therefore it has to go contrast, water and fire, water and fire. It is like a special task force training. And when you go there, they will give all the kind of torturing, with all the kind of honorary degrees and kind of thing. Exactly this yogic life also, in how to balance in contrast, as if you are in a very comfort zone. That is the very good indication. Otherwise you are going to measure the world, if you are going to be a disciplinarian to the world, then you are creating unwanted friction.
Thank you, Bhante. This is the last part of the same question, and it seems like something related to administration than to Dhamma. Anyway, I put the question. Also, Bhante, you said at least 3 retreats will give us the best results. As I feel time is running out on us with illnesses creeping in, can we book another retreat for 10 days during this year before we leave? May the Triple Gem bless you and keep you happy, healthy, peaceful and content with metta.
Oh, of course, our programs, everything is published. Any person can register. But I am not telling that 3 retreats in Nissarana. I am telling 3 retreats that once you understand is familiarization. Usually in Buddhism, Okasa Vandam Bante, Dutiyampi Okasa Vandam Bante, Tatyampi Okasa Vandam Bante 3 times. Everything you have to do 3 times. That is how you familiarize it. So therefore, either self-retreat or wherever may be, try to give full time, and that is to not to do anything. Just to be. Learning how to be. So that is what I call retreat. That is what I call that if you can do again and again, then you can understand the hectic and the multitasking life. And the other side, the life without much of doing, just try to not to do something, and that comparison, the mind I hope will be more and more healthy. So if you wish to register, that we have already appointed retreat coordinators and retreat organizers and published the yearly schedule, you are free. We have indicated the criterion in selection, and in my absence there may be some silent retreats for those who are already taken 3 or more than retreats so far, so they can come and join and do their silent retreat. And when I am here, that other schedules are being already published. You all are welcome.
Thank you, Bhante. And it was the end of written questions.
So that's the end of the written questions. If there are any other questions or experience that is to be presented under these common interviews, welcome. Okay, if there are no more questions, we can wind up the session, and tomorrow we'll be meeting at about 1 o'clock to winding up. Thank you very much for the participation.